Hi guys, welcome to my 34-week pregnancy vlog. I will show you my belly, my big belly. Hey big baby, can you see that? Sorry about the trains zooming by. Oops. Oh my gosh. Life has been great this week. It has been busy. Right now I am on the set of a day of filming on my product Love Well that I'm doing with Christiane Daigen. You may have seen it on my Instagram. Mother and child wellness and nutritional shake that we're launching around about the time I give birth to my girl. So very busy, and that has been the theme of my week and last week as well. I think last week I was feeling really overwhelmed because of the heat and I was feeling tired, and then sure enough I find out that my iron and ferritin levels are really low, and that was adding to why I was feeling so run down. Look at the big bruise on my arm. Do you see that? That's from the drip I had to get. So I had an iron infusion drip, which is just kind of a quick way to get a big burst of iron. I was taking supplements, but I think that between the breastfeeding and the pregnancy, and I have a tendency to have low iron during pregnancy anyway, and just being like so crazy busy and being on my own, and I haven't stopped breastfeeding since I had my first baby. So I breastfed Bodhi for a few years, and then there was no gap between Bodhi and Forrest. So like Bodhi finished, but by the time Bodhi finished, Forrest was a newborn, and so then I went on to breastfeed Forrest, and Forrest hasn't finished breastfeeding yet. And so then when baby girl gets here, I would have just jumped from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And that really depletes your levels. So I felt really good after the infusion. It's just a drip and they give it to you for 15 minutes. And while I was there, they said that I tested positive for the antibody again. So I initially tested positive to this antibody when I was, I think, 12 weeks pregnant. And then you have to get your numbers done, your titers done. And my titers were 0. So I didn't have a number, which was great, which meant that my body wasn't really fighting off the baby in any way. And then I got my antibody tested again in second trimester, and it was negative. Then I got it tested again at the end of second trimester. It was negative again. And then just last week I got it tested and it came back positive. And I was like, what's going on? And then of course we found out that the number was still at 0, but it's obviously like 0.5, and it's just, come up in the most tiniest amount that is traceable, but it doesn't mean that she's affected anyway. And I feel really lucky because most ISO immunization pregnancies, which is technically what I have, can lead to baby having anemia and a lot more scans and more complications, and it's a high risk pregnancy, but mine hasn't been. So counting my lucky stars for that. And I also wonder if the iron levels has anything to do with it. I haven't looked into that, but Mark and I were like, yeah, there's probably something to that as well. So I felt good after having the drip. But it's just been a crazy busy week. I'm doing a special project with Sarah, which we will talk about in the coming months, I'm sure. And we have certain deadlines for that. And I just feel like I haven't had enough time to work on it in the way that I want to. I need to have uninterrupted time to work on it. And as you know, as a parent, or as you will know if you're pregnant, you just get so time poor. And I've been feeling really time poor this week, and just trying to get on top of all the things I have to do. I have 2 days of filming for Love Well. I had to do run sheets for the shooting days and get my influencer list together and do a bunch of things for Love Well behind the scenes to get ready for our launch. And then on top of Love Well, I have the project that I'm working on with Sarah that's going on. And then I said yes to a bunch of things this week. Like I'm filming a documentary the 2 documentaries for people, like being interviewed for them, and then all to do with like parenting and birthing. And so they're my passions, but at the same time, I'm not being good at listening to my own advice, at saying no, being okay to say no to some things. I always preach that to people, like, be okay with being the person who says, I'm so sorry, I'm too busy. And then I don't do the same thing. And then I'm also editing the newspaper this week for International Women's Day, and that sounded really exciting at the time, so I said yes. Then of course I get to this week and I'm just inundated with work and I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I had to commission pieces for the paper, and then Mark's away and I'm doing all the pickups and drop-offs and lunches and getting the kids ready, and so it's just been a lot. But Mark gets home in about an hour's time, so I am excited to have him back and just get to nest and focus in on having the baby and getting really excited about that. So energy-wise, I'm feeling a little bit better now this week. She is moving like crazy. I know I feel like I say that every week, but her movements are so full on, like on both sides of the belly, and she's head down, and she's moving right now as I speak. She's so funny. I feel like we're very in sync. When I think about her moving, she'll move. And so her back, she's basically like head down, back up and around here, and legs are right here. I can feel her right here. I also started thinking about my birth plan this week. I wrote about the different scenarios. All right, if I go into labor in the middle of the night, what does that look like? Who's going to be with the kids? How do we get everyone down to the hospital on time? I almost didn't make it with Forrest, so I have to put a plan in place to make sure that I actually get to the hospital on time this time round. I think we have a plan. My friend Cassandra is going to drive my mum and Forrest, and they're going to head to the hospital first, park, and then meet us there. And they're going to have toys and books and stuff for the kids. Then in my car, it's going to be me and my doula Kat and my birth photographer Gemma and Bodhi, and Mark will drive. So we'll head down to the hospital, and if Isaac's in town, my parents are going to come and pick him up, my stepmom and my dad, and take him back to their place. My friend Claire's going to meet us at the hospital, so I'm going to end up having like 2 of my best friends there, and probably a 3rd best friend, Cass. She will be with us as well, although her main priority is just checking in with the kids and making sure that they're feeling good and happy. And Cass is their auntie Cass, so there's no other adult in the world that's as close to my children as Cassandra is. So that's her special role on the day. I wrote out a bunch of things that would be comforting for me, the crushed bags of crushed ice, and I wrote out my hospital to pack list. And I'm debating whether or not to use the TENS machine. I'd love to hear what you guys think, if I should do that this year. I hired it for Forest birth, but then didn't end up using it. I have a sock with 2 tennis balls in it for back massaging, essential oils. I have a birth prep spray, perineum spray. I know the outfits I'm bringing for the baby, for the hospital. So I'm just kind of getting into that headspace, which is great. And this week I have my first chiropractic appointment, just to make sure baby's in optimal position. And I really recommend that if you are thinking about doing some chiropractic work. I think they call it the Webster technique, where they make sure baby descends properly and is sitting in a really preferable position. I did do that with Forrest, and I did not do that with Bodhi. And with Bodhi, he was posterior, and I had that really terrible back labor, and I had a stop and start labor. I had pre-ruptured membranes. Then he got stuck, and I had to do the hospital transfer. And it was all about positioning. And I just didn't know enough about spinning babies and how to get baby into a good position. And I knew that second time round. And Forrest, that birth was just my dream birth. I didn't have any back labor, and I got to tell you, back labor sucks compared to just regular labor contractions. So I'm really hoping that I can get baby in an optimal position. So I'm looking forward to going tomorrow to the chiropractor to get that done, to start working on that. And I'll go and see her once a week. And then when I hit 36 weeks, which is in about a week and a few days, I'm going to do some acupuncture, start my red raspberry leaf tea drinks, evening primrose oil, and you pierce the capsules and you insert them up there. And that just helps get the cervix ready and get your body ready for birthing. And it's such a big thing. I'm really excited about it. I can't believe it's happening so soon. And I'll be looking back on these videos thinking, oh my God, I was still pregnant then. But yeah, lots of excitement in our house, and let the preparations begin. So, okay, I'm going to get going now, go pick up my kids from school, but I'm sending love. Mwah. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.